Have you set goals for the year? Have you done your half-year check-in? That's what today's episode's all about, doing your half-year goals check-in. Are you growing every day? Are you moving towards your goals? Are your goals big enough? Hey, it's a great time of the year to check in with your goals and listen to this episode all the way through to the end. You're going to get some fabulous advice on goal setting and your mindset and your behaviors. Hey, good selling, guys. Enjoy the pod. Straight from the heart of Miami, this is It Shouldn't Happen to Us. After 30 years of selling and training sales teams, we still screw it up sometimes. And this is where we tell you all about it, because it shouldn't happen to us.
Whoa, hey-ya, hiya.
Sophia and Carlos for the ISHTUers. How are you, Sophia?
Oh, what a week it's been. I just got off of an intense sales call, so I'm full of adrenaline. How about you, Carlos?
I am tickety-boo. I really am. I know you had a big sales call today. It was did the guy hand you your ass? Or
Straight
did you
up.
control him?
Well, I controlled it. Once I hit, end Zoom meeting, I was like, oh, just like, man,
to us.
We earn our money, man.
To us, but it happens to us. And I know the prospect that you are talking about. Wowzers,
Navy SEAL of prospects, man.
Wowzers, you know.
He's been taking me through the American Ninja Warrior of selling.
It happens to us too. It happens to us too. I tell you what is interesting. I was selling to a big corporate a couple of maybe about 6 months ago, and I was like, hey, how did you find us? Who have you worked with in the past? And they mentioned one of our competitors. Oh, we've worked with this guy in the past, and I said, oh right, I've heard good things about that guy. How come you sat with me today? And he said, the guy just he wouldn't go through our process. He wouldn't our terms and conditions that we were offering. He just wouldn't accept them. And I was sat there thinking, oh, so you're hoping I accept them? That's interesting. And then I thought, do you know what? Good for that guy. He bailed. Now, I actually signed them and I got them to, I got to a negotiated position that I could live with. Absolutely. But it happens to us guys too, I promise you. And I bet you if you went on that guy's podcast channel or whatever, he's not there saying, lost that client. Of course not. Hiding that away. Because we bring a healthy dose of honesty to our viewers and our listeners, right?
I've gotten tons of great feedback recently on that professional humility and vulnerability that we have, Carlos. And listeners, ISHTUers, if you're ever listening to this podcast, if you ever finish a sales call, if you ever get to the end of the week and are disappointed in your prospecting behaviors, anything that shouldn't be happening to you as a seasoned veteran, as a sales professional, please email us, share with us your ISHTU moments, because we'd love to share them with all the listeners. And of course, don't forget to subscribe and like this video if you're watching it on YouTube, and hit that subscribe button, because that helps us.
It does help us. It helps us bring inspiration to our viewers and our listeners. So let's bring some inspiration, Sophia.
You're the inspiration.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
You see, that's why your musical career never took off.
No, I know.
Right there, that's the issue.
I always used to ask my dad, I'm like, Dad, do you think I have a good voice? He'd be like, no, I don't think so. I don't think so.
I don't think so. Yeah.
Okay.
So let's do it. Tell me, we wanted to talk about goal setting and goals this week. Talk to me about it. Tell me what brought this to mind in particular this week.
So I thought to myself, okay, we're at June, mid-year. So I have a vision board group. Every ISHTUers, FYI, once a year, I run a beautiful vision board workshop for our clients. So if you ever become a client, that's something you can look forward to. That's the granola bit of absolute sales development of what we do for our clients. And we have a nice vision board workshop where clients come with their spouses and sometimes their kids, and we get real clarity on what it is that we want to manifest this year. And some of those things on the vision board take more than a year to manifest and work towards. But we get visual clarity, and we really believe we get real granola.
It's our little Christmas present, right? It's our little Christmas present for all our fabulous clients.
That's right. And we believe wholeheartedly in the power of visualization. And so halfway through throughout the year, I like to send my vision boarders a check-in of how we're doing, how we pacing towards our goals. When was it? Make sure, because the idea is that we want to be looking at our vision board every single day. We want to look at it every day and ask ourselves, what's one thing we can do to get closer to one thing on that board? And I sent out a mid-year energy boost vitamin shot, IV vitamin shot, to the people, the participants of the vision board workshop this year, and I got some really cool responses. So I thought, hey, Carlos, why don't we make today about goal setting?
Let's do that. If we don't set goals, let me tell you, danger. We'll talk to you today about why it's important to set goals. But I'm curious. So you sent the mid-year check-in to your vision boarders, and anything interesting come out of it? Anybody send you anything cool?
Absolutely. Look, one of our clients said, "Hi, Sophia, what timing? When you sent this email, I was in the process." She responded to it a little bit later. She responded to my email a little bit later. She said, actually, because I sent another email in May, and then I sent a follow-up one last week. And she was responding to the last one. And she said, "Hi, Sophia, what timing? When you sent this email, I was in the process of moving into my beautiful new home. I had to accept that I deserved it. I had to accept that I deserved it.
To accept that
I deserved it. And
that
manifested it
right there.
Well, get this. Put this in your pipe and smoke it. I had to accept that I deserved it and manifested it in less than 1 week. I sold mine and bought the new. Amazing how that happens. Putting myself first, doing much better at setting boundaries, definitely have fallen off the fitness side, had surgery and have not been able to exercise. Right. She says, had surgery, have not been able to exercise without feeling dizzy, but have not given up yet. Thanks for checking in."
Boom.
Come on.
Boom. Shake the room. Absolutely.
Another client responded, "Taking names and kissing babies, continuing to kick butt." Another one said, "Hi, Sophia. My son is in leadership as one of his electives. His teacher had assigned them a project to create a vision board of short-term and long-term goals. The power is real." So I'm under the impression, Carlos, that today's podcast topic it's June, and we're talking about goals mid-year. How are we pacing? It's never too late. You can start the day over whenever you like. You can start the year over whenever you like. Don't get discouraged about having fallen off the bandwagon.
Hey, that mid-year review, though, Soph, I think most people look at that as a recalibration to say, okay, how am I tracking to goal? Now, that is part of its purpose. But I see the whole other purpose as well. There's also the purpose, which is, hey, is this goal big enough? Am I tracking too close to this? Is this, what's the old adage? What got you here will keep you here. What do I need to shake up, right? What do I need to change? Because, am I playing this game big enough? It isn't always about what do I need to up to get me to this goal that I set and was committed to in January. Everyone's committed in January, right? Go to the gym in January. Places to the rafters full of people, I promise you, committed. January 2, no question about commitment, conviction, desire, not in question. Go back in January, the 21st. It's like a tumbleweed blowing through it. It's like the Specials song, right? Ghost Town. Do you remember that song, The Specials?
I do like The Specials.
He's coming like a
ghost town.
So it's like a ghost town, that place, on the 21st of January. And there is no doubting the commitment, the desire, that force of will that was apparent in the on the 2nd of January. That's not in doubt. Let me tell you what happens. And this is why your vision boards are so powerful. What happens is people set a goal if it's a good goal, it's outside your comfort zone, right? It's outside your comfort zone. So people set a goal that is in conflict with their identity. That's what happened. So the guy who's now, I'm going to go to the gym every day, he's only setting it as a goal because it is in conflict with his identity. If he was the kind of person who went to the gym every day like you are, you don't have that as a goal because you do it naturally. It's like I don't have as a goal, I'm going to brush my teeth twice a day because I brush my teeth twice a day every single day, right? Doesn't need to be a goal. Soon as we're looking at something like it's a goal, now we have to recognize what I'm writing down here is outside my identity. And so if I'm not mindful of that battle, I am going to lose. What I am absolutely going to lose, because being in conflict, trying to do something that's in conflict with your identity over a long period of time is a fool's errand. You ain't going to win that fight. You're not. So what the vision board does is it gives everybody an opportunity daily to envision themselves. It's putting themselves in that vision board. It's moving their identity. It's converting a to-do list into a to-be list. Ooh. That's the power of that vision board, right? To see yourself in that movie and to visualize that movie. And that's how, and to connect that with your goal setting, magic. So the half-year check-in, are you the gym rat in January 2nd who didn't make it past January 7th, like I am? Or do you need to readjust your goals? Cast that net bigger. Cast that vision bigger. Because if you're always looking at the horizon, you never catch the horizon. You just the horizon's got to move. What's your thoughts, Sophia?
I love what you're saying. It sounds to me like you have to embody the behaviors, mindset of the person that you want to become versus saying, I would like to become that person, which is sort of like a wish. Like, I wish I was the person that went to the gym 5 times a week. Well, what does that person that goes to the gym 5 times a week do? Well, I imagine they have gym clothes. I imagine they have gym clothes that they feel good in. I imagine they have some good sneakers. I imagine they think about, am I going to go in the morning or in the evening? I imagine they pick a gym that they like because there's community, or they like that there's a personal trainer, or they like because it's close to their home. To be versus to do is that resonates with me a lot.
It's the infinite game rather than the finite game, right? Simon Sinek's finite game. The finite game is the goal. The infinite game is the identity that goal tracks to. We obsess about the goal, the lagging indicator, but what about those leading indicators of identity? Put it into a sales setting for our sales people who are trying to sell shit in the marketplace, all our listeners and our viewers. Put it in that context. How does this apply in their world?
Well, if you're an account executive that's wanting to earn a certain annual income, well, it's so funny. I'm remembering a client of ours. I'm not going to say his name, but he used to tell me, I'm not going to really say what he said either because it's not appropriate, but he said, I want to be the real, he said, I want to be the real commercial real estate marketing mogul, swinging marketing mogul in this market.
I imagine that it wasn't mogul that he was saying, right?
No, that was not mogul. On that coaching call that morning. Yeah. That was not the word he used, but I'll let you guys fill in the blanks.
Yeah.
And so we talked about, well, what does that marketing mogul do Monday through Friday? So they get to their desk on Monday. What is that person doing? What is that person reading? Who is that person rubbing elbows with? Who are they associating with? What are those behaviors? How many?
Do you know how many of our clients have got a sales target as a goal? I've got a client and I've made them all write and this is, because this is the first step. I've made them all put a Post-it note, stick it on their screen. This is how many deals this month. Here's my month. This is how many deals this month. That's cool. That reminder, that visual cue is so cool. but it's only half of it. Because now, like you say, what does that
break
guy
it down.
do? How does this guy behave? How does this guy handle a sales call? How does this guy prep for a sales call? How does this guy manage a pipeline? How does this guy
Networking events? Does this guy go to these types of networking events, or does this guy go to those types of networking events, right? Getting really specific. And you were sharing with us that John Maxwell, Sandler trainer, goals are important, because if we don't have short-term, long-term, daily goals, it's like running a marathon with no finish line. Yes, we have this big esoteric goal of being the marketing mogul, not marketing mogul, a commercial real estate mogul, and that sounds really lovely and nice, and we can see it and it feels good. And that's important, because it's like running a marathon with no finish line if we don't have a goal. But chunking it down, like Martin Luther King said, don't focus on the whole staircase, focus on the step you have in front of you. How can you take that goal and chunk it down so that every single day, Monday through Sunday, really? Because what is the commercial real estate mogul of the town? What is he doing on Saturday and Sunday? It's probably not, right? There's a season of our life for everything. So I think, and there goes to speak, when it comes to goals and who you want to become, I think that if the identity you're trying to become is so far away from your current identity, if you only have that become exercise Monday through Friday and you turn it completely off on Saturday, Sunday, you're not fusing it to your identity. And I think turning it back on Monday is going to be a major task, and it's going to be hard to do if you're so disconnected. Yeah.
So you're telling me that I can't eat chocolate cake on Saturday if I've been a good boy on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday?
I think you can. I think.
There you go.
I think you can.
No, but you're right. You can't. You're right. You can't. Because then what does that tell your sort of subconscious? It tells your subconscious that on Saturday, that Saturday cake tells your subconscious, I have been depriving you of something Monday to Friday.
Binge.
So now you can eat. Now you can have the chocolate cake. Now you can rest. Hey, you can rest on Saturday. You can neglect on Saturday and Sunday, because Monday to Friday, you've made your 30, 40 calls. That's a tough message. But
that's a tough message, yeah.
Now you do need to, it's a question of how you think about it. I often wonder about this, right? You go on holiday, you've seen this, I've done this, and you've done this, and I know our clients do this. They go on vacation and they come back and they are off their game. There's a big air bubble in your pipeline. Hey, you know what? We're in the middle of summer now, guys. So this is an interesting thing to talk about for a moment. You're going to go on vacation. Happened to me last year. Went out to Colombia. It wasn't the best time anyway. But we went to Colombia. Came back and I was off my game because the flywheel had stopped. I had basically neglected my my sort of psyche. It had been an exercise of neglect, not an exercise of re-energizing. And I always liked the way David Ogilvy, who was the advertising titan that I'm just enamored with at the moment, I mentioned him in the last podcast too, I think. Mm-hmm. He said that he has periods of time when he lets his mind fallow. Now, fallow is an interesting word, because fallow is what farmers do. They leave the field fallow to re-energize. They don't neglect. They'll maybe plant a crop that isn't commercially viable but re-energizes the soil. Or maybe it's not an exercise in neglect, it's an exercise in regeneration.
Exactly.
And I think Saturdays and Sundays can be an exercise in re-energizing, not an exercise in neglect. Because if we make it an exercise in neglect, Monday's tough.
I agree with you. I think the message isn't that, number one, I don't condone the message that you have to earn rest. I think we all need to rest. And number two, it doesn't mean that you need to have your armor on all the time. You don't need to be a real estate mogul all the time. We need that. I'm all about that flow state and giving yourself. I really believe in the power of allowing yourself time to be bored, because I think that's where creative ideas and efficiency and effectiveness comes. for sure. But what I am saying is, which I hate this, and I hate saying this, but I believe it's true, is that the way you do one thing is the way that you do everything.
Oh,
So,
love that. That's I forget whose quote that is, but that
I
is a
don't know whose
famous
quote. It's not mine, but it's somebody's
You know
quote.
what? I know whose quote. I will find that. Carry on, but go on. Carry on with that idea.
Even in your rest time, even in the stuff you need to do around the house, tasks, projects, bills that you got to pay, the way you go about work, the way you go about fitness, the way you go about family life, the way you go about one thing is the way you're going to go about everything. And
There's a famous story about Warren Buffett about this. Have you heard the Warren Buffett story? Apparently, true story. So Warren Buffett is playing golf with a good, with a really good golfer. And Warren Buffett's not a naturally talented golfer by all accounts. And this guy says to him, "Hey, just for fun, Warren, next tee, the ball closest to the pin gets $10." And Warren says, "I don't like my odds, no." And the guy said, $10, Warren, to make it fun. You're the richest man in the world, $10. And Warren Buffett said, "Foolish in small things, foolish in big things." I mean, it's right. How we do one thing is how we do everything, right?
Yeah. And when it comes to goals, I think this speaks to the vision board part. It's not only the behaviors, but it's the radical belief that it's not a matter of if, but when you're going to meet your goal. What you want wants you. And now this is more of the law of attraction bit. And I love what you say, Carlos.
That's a Rumi quote. The thing you're searching for is searching for you, or something. There's a Rumi quote, and I can't remember it, but carry on.
Yes. No, I actually wanted you to go down the rabbit hole of that you grow into your goals. What is it that you always say there? I love when you say that.
That is, I'm pretty sure that's Darren Hardy. You don't achieve your goals, you grow into your goals. The message there is a good goal, a worthy goal. Let's say if you're listening to this, a goal that's worthy of you requires growth. And then, so now how do we grow? Who are you talking to? What are you putting in your mind? Just like if you want to grow in health terms, you've got to be very mindful about what you put in your body. If you want to grow in your professional life, especially if you're in sales, be extremely mindful about what goes into your mind. Who are you talking to? Jim Rohn said you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, right? Look around the rooms you're in. Is that your room? Are you in the wrong room? I have in this week's newsletter, and if you've not subscribed to the newsletter, what's wrong with you? The ISHTU newsletter, the Monday Momentum newsletter, get on the list, lunatic. But I put a section about how to bust out of your networking comfort zone. If you're comfortable with every room you're in, if you feel like the rock star, the giant of the room, you're in the wrong room. You got to get in a room where you are feeling uncomfortable because you're surrounded by people achieving more than you, achieving an aspirational level of delivery and success and impact. So that rubs off on you. That'll magnetize you. So yes, you don't grow, you don't achieve a goal, you grow into your goal, which is why that quote, "What got you here is going to keep you here." Because if you don't change, you're going to get the same again and again. Now, how do we change? We're in an environment of people who are achieving bigger, greater things. That means we can connect, and we get that through osmosis. We work with coaches and teachers. We read books. Darren Hardy said, to reach the top shelf, you stand on books. Actually, that might have been Jim Rohn. Jim Rohn said, to reach the top shelf, you stand on books. Are you reading the right books? Tony Robbins said, stand guard at the gate to your mind. But what are you putting in your mind? Who are you talking to? What training are you doing? What coaching are you doing? because you can absolutely achieve anything. Absolutely.
Especially if you believe you are that person now. Become that person today. Monitor your thoughts. The person that you want to become, be that person today. That's how we grow into our goals.
You know, it's interesting, I've got a really interesting story. Carolina, my wife, she won't like me sharing this, but she has built a beautiful career. I mean, she has achieved a lot. And she once interviewed for a job, and one of the people who was interviewing her said that didn't give her the job. She said, you just didn't look the part. You weren't polished. You just weren't polished enough. And she said, and she gave us some advice, because at the time, I don't think Carolina had much money, and she wasn't, and she gave her advice. She said, Carolina, dress for the job you want to get, not for the job you've got. I actually think that's like a Latin expression, I think, or it's something in the Latin community. And you know what? That same person has since promoted her since that time. And not just because she dresses well now, Carolina, which she does. She's an angel. But it's because because she's super smart, but that isn't getting in her way now. She dresses for the job she wants, not the job she's got. You're saying be the person you want to be, not the person that you are, right? And it'll happen.
That's right.
It's like I used to tell the kids when they were kids and they were like, Daddy, I can't sleep. I used to say, pretend you're asleep and you'll fall asleep. And they pretend you're asleep.
I love it. It.
And it's not faking it till you make it. It's modeling it until you master it. That's what it is. You're modeling it.
Hey, that's a perfect natural ending to this beautiful episode.
Oh, you know I could go on forever about this.
That was so good. Model it till you master it. Beautiful.
Model it until you master it. Guys,
we could do
half year. It's half year.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave you with this message. It's half year. We're halfway through. Look back at your goals. How are you tracking, and how do you need to change them, and how do you need to make them bigger? And who do you need to be to hit aspirational levels of performance, because you absolutely can? Who do you need to speak to? And ask yourself the most important question of all. Have I liked and subscribed to the ISHTU podcast and the Monday Motivation newsletter? If not, that's got to be job number one. Hey, Sophia, you're a rock star.
You're good amazing, selling. Carlos. Good selling, folks.
It's goodbye from Sophia.
And ta-ta for now from Carlos.
Take care.